Smart Chiropractor Show, March 15th, 2022. It is our Mindset Mentor segment. We lead off every Smart Chiropractor Show with this segment because it is imperative. It's where everything else stems from. You have to have that why. We'll lead in there before you get to the how. And Jason, we're going to talk a little bit about Simon Sinek today. Let docs know what they should be paying attention to when you think about the infinite game.
Well, mindset matters. It's been said to me, my early mentors have always sort of drilled into my mind that who you are determines how well what you do works, right? Because you can give the same tactics to 10 different people and they'll get 10 different results. So the question is, what's the difference, right? Is it the tactics? No, they're the same tactics, same instructions. But why is it different? Is it just their community? Well, maybe partially. That may have something to do with it. But the overwhelming number one common denominator for what makes some people thrive and others not so much when information is everywhere is how you think. How you think determines your attitude. It determines your stamina. It determines your goals and whether you're thinking short-term or long-term. And that is my segment to get into today's book. It is a book by Simon Sinek. You may have heard him. His book before was Start With Why, just over there in my bookcase. His new book is The Infinite Game. I take the paper off, so I'll just show it to you that way. The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And, you know, Simon has done a really nice job articulating something we have been really doing our best to communicate. We've said it before. You may have heard us in lectures in different formats saying, you know, there's a difference between the way a hunter thinks and the way a farmer thinks. They're just different ways of thinking. You know, the good news for hunters is you go out, you hopefully find what you're hunting, you kill it, you eat it, quick relief, measurable results, and good to go, right? That seems like a terrific thing. And in some cases it is. But that is different than the way the farmer thinks. You know, the farmer is somebody who plants seeds, understands natural law, and is already prepared to have the patience for the process, understanding that you don't plant a seed today and check next week and the week after and the week after and the week after to see if it's working. And if you don't see any results in the few weeks that you're looking at, you don't go, well, farming doesn't work. No, it's a different mindset. And when it comes to communication, when it comes to marketing, those two types of thinking really are important for us to analyze and understand for ourselves. Much of what we're talking about here is based on Jeff and I's experience that as we put out our information of the Smart Chiropractor and as we talk about the word marketing, most chiropractors, most businesses confuse the word marketing with the word advertising and end up applying a short-term consciousness to something that actually can be and should be also a long-term process. So I'm going to read a few things. I'm not a big fan of reading, but he says it so well. Hopefully I'll do a good enough job to keep you interested. Let me just read a few notes of the book. Then we'll break it down and talk. And if you've got comments, if you like, don't like, if you agree, disagree, if you're confused or got questions, leave your comments down below. This show is not just us talking at you. It is a conversation that we have together. So here we go. You know, Simon writes, he goes, for all its benefits, acting with an infinite long-term view is not easy. It takes real effort. And that's one of the reasons why people don't do it so much. As human beings, we are naturally inclined to seek out immediate solutions to uncomfortable problems and prioritize quick wins to advance our ambitions. We tend to see the world in terms of success and failure, winners and losers. And this default win-lose mode can sometimes work for the short term. However, as a strategy for how companies and organizations operate, it can have grave consequences over the long term. That's kind of true. When you think about, there's no shortage of chiropractors putting some message out into the world to get more new patients now. But the question is that the same message that we collectively as a profession would say that's an accurate description of what we really do? And oftentimes I find that's the conflict. We say one thing to get them in, but we believe something slightly different as it relates to what our hopes and dreams are for what people really understand. That's a contradiction that, if it's not corrected, will continue to be an issue and problem for our profession and your practice in the long run. Going back, he says the results of this default mindset are all too familiar. He puts it in the language, not hunters and farmers, but he calls it finite thinking versus infinite thinking. And he sort of describes like eating too many desserts in the name of enjoying life, right? Quick relief, quick enjoyment, immediate gratification. Who doesn't love it? We all do. But eating too many desserts in the name of enjoying life only to make oneself diabetic in the process. Right? So what is the long-term consequence of the type of probably deep discount advertising many are doing? It's not that anything's wrong with it in the short term, but if all you're focused on is that short term, the question is, what are the consequences in the long term if you don't also have more that does accurately reflect / teach and invite your audience about what it is that you really do and what it is you really want them to understand about what you do. So let me go on. The choice to lead with an infinite mindset is less like preparing for a football game, as in a specific event. This is that conversation of I've got measurable ROIs and what's the word I'm looking for? Key
performance indicators.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And it's more like getting in shape, right? Getting in shape. And we teach this to our clients. We're like, getting in shape is a process, and people can do it different ways, but you can't just go to the gym for 9 hours and get in shape. What it takes is 20 minutes a day, every day. And so this is one of those write this down type of statements. The statement is that consistency becomes more important than intensity with your infinite thinking. That's an important thing as it relates to your marketing. You can be intense. Wow, I need more new patients now. Numbers are down. Money is due. We have to get X amount in X a period of time. That's a finite goal you have, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if all you focus on is those finite goals, there will be a consequence. He describes marketing and, basically this infinite way of thinking more like getting in shape. And to that point, he says the problem is no one knows exactly when you're going to see results. In fact, different people are going to show different results at different times. But the one thing you know, and I know you know this, is that if you do 20 minutes a day consistently every day, there's no question that 100% of the time it will work. We don't know how quick you're going to see results. It depends on who you are, your history, and what combination of different things you do. It's not one thing you do to get in shape. It's a multitude of factors that help you get into shape, just like marketing and communicating your message to your practice. It's not just deep discount ads. There's a lot more to it. And that's what we talk about. So though we may have finite fitness goals we want to reach, if we want to be as healthy as possible, believe this is a business guru, not a chiropractor, right? If you want to have the best, be as healthy as possible, it's the lifestyle we adopt that matters more than whether or not we hit our goal on some sort of arbitrary date that we set. With any health goals, there are certain things we have to do. Eat more veggies, work out on a regular basis, get enough sleep. He should probably know to add, stay well adjusted, stay aligned, and adopting an infinite mindset is the exact same thing. Isn't it ironic how the things we're actually teaching the people who come to us about being patient with the process, building a personalized lifestyle plan to help you get well and stay well over time, is in fact the exact same philosophy we should be adopting when it comes to communicating, or what we call teaching and inviting consistently, TIC, teaching and inviting consistently over time. This is part of an infinite mindset. So let's get more tactical, because this I found super interesting. He says any leader who wants to adopt an infinite mindset must follow 5 essential practices, 5 essential practices. I'm going to list the 5. I'll go into a little bit of detail on each one afterwards, and then we'll wrap up this segment. So, number 1, he says the number one thing to be a leader with an infinite mindset is to advance a just cause. Not any cause, but a just cause. I'll get into detail what that means in a moment. So, number 1, advance a just cause. Number 2, you have to build trusting teams. Number 3, you've got to study your worthy rivals. 4, prepare for existential flexibility. And 5, demonstrate the courage to lead. So he acknowledges, and we are acknowledging, that maintaining an infinite mindset is hard, in some cases, very hard. And it's expected that you'll stray. Again, think about it. Getting in shape, building a healthy lifestyle is difficult. We all fall off the wagon. We want an extra dessert. We miss a day of working out, whatever. We don't get enough sleep for whatever the reasons are. But we know the answer to the question is, okay, it's in the long-term consistency that we're always going to see our long-term results. And it's going to happen. It's not something that you want to beat yourself up on. It's to probably be expected, hopefully limited. A just cause is a specific vision of a future state that does not yet exist. A just cause is a specific vision of a future state that does not exist. A future state so appealing that people are willing to make sacrifices in order to help advance toward that vision. He goes on to say, and this applies to your staff and your team as much as it does to what you teach your community about health, wellness, and well-being. Finite businesses, people like their jobs. They like their care. But infinite businesses, people love their jobs. People love their care. People love their chiropractor. We've all experienced that difference. So I found it fascinating to sort of break down. It's about having this just cause or this bigger vision that people can subscribe to, people that can enjoy and typically often believe themselves, but didn't know you believe it too. So a just cause gives people a reason to come bigger than just the obvious. In other words, people will come to you for more than just quick relief. People will work with you for more than just a paycheck. A just cause is not the same thing as our why. This is a great distinction. We've talked about why. And Sinek's past book was Start with Why. But the visual to think about is that your why is metaphorically the foundation of your house. It's what it's built upon. Our just cause is our vision for what we hopefully build on top of that. Awesome distinction. We have to have a foundation. We have to have a why, a purpose, a passion, a reason for why we do what we do. But it's our just cause that shares the blueprint of what's possible. I thought that was a phenomenal distinction. We'll dig into that as we close this segment. It's the just cause that we're working to advance that gives our work and our lives meaning, significance. And then once you know your just cause, you look for as many people as possible who want to join you in this cause. And he does a great, interesting example for the metaphor. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Let's make it practical and something that applies to all of us, probably especially now. He says, think about the United States and our founding fathers. They wrote, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and that we are endowed with certain unalienable rights, that among these are the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, the vision they set forth was not just one of borders, but one of an ideal future state defined by principles of liberty and equality for all. I thought that was interesting. We're in a new country. It's America. Here are the borders. Well, that's not just it. He says, July 4th, 1776. Think about this. Being back under those circumstances, 56 men mutually pledged to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. So a just cause must have the following things. Number one, a just cause must be for something. It has to be inclusive. It has to be service-oriented. It has to be resilient, and it has to be idealistic. I'm going to dig down a little bit deeper in what those things mean. These are really important, I think, write this down type ideas. Because if it's for something, that means it's affirmative and optimistic. It's about feeling inspired. And one of the great distinctions he brings up is instead of fighting poverty, we can be for the right of every human being to provide for their own family. It's such an important distinction because for many decades, people have promoted chiropractic by being anti-medicine, okay? And that's a perfect example of not a just cause. We have to find a vision that people want to aspire to, not just facts and reality about why the current system is broken, damaging, dangerous, etc. Two, it has to be inclusive, which means it has to be open to all who would like to contribute. Humans crave connection and belonging, so inviting others of like mind to be a part of something is an essential part of your just cause. And we reviewed Seth Godin's book in the past, This is Marketing. The statement that he said, you'll probably hear us say it over and over again. He gets the credit, but we're going to use it. And that is, people like us do things like this. That's a way of saying we're inclusive. Here's what we believe. Here's our aspiration. And if you are like us, join us. You're invited to be part of our movement. It has to be service-oriented, which means it has to be for the primary benefit of other people. And there's two parts to that. There's always the giver or the contributor and the receiver. This is an important one because a lot of chiropractors are generous in spirit, but are needy in reality. We're going to address that. And until you recognize that servant leadership means that the primary benefit is for the receiver, not the giver, you're going to find yourself in a trap, an important part. Next, I mentioned it has to be resilient. It has to be able to endure political, technological, and cultural change. You must have something greater than just the sum of its parts that's going to be able to last over time. So saying our products and services are to advance the cause, they are not the cause themselves. That is a huge distinction. And it's something that all of us should pay attention. I wish I could go into this in deep detail because we confuse the idea that the cause is chiropractic. And many times we teach and explain chiropractor, what are you? I'm a chiropractor. What do you do? I provide chiropractic care. And we think it's our service that's the cause. And it's not. Our products and services advance the just cause, which means we really should be focusing on the cause, because when people understand what they are aspiring to have, then our products and services become the tool and vehicle to help them get to that. Huge distinction. Next, so some examples of that, and I'll wrap up in just a moment. The railroad business thought they were in the transportation business, thought they were in the railroad business, right? Remember this, learned this in business school. I learned it in marketing school. The railroad business was in the railroad business. It's why they don't continue to dominate what they should have thought about, which is that they were in the transportation business. Railroads at the time were the most advanced technology. As the technology advanced and they didn't, as we had cars and airplanes and everything else, the railroad business was stuck. So you want to think about what business you're in as more infinite. Another example, if book publishers, thought of themselves they think of themselves in the book business, which was a mistake, because what we've seen change over time is those that are in the spreading ideas business. And if they thought of themselves as the spreading ideas business, they probably would have invented Amazon itself or the ebook reader or some internet technology that helps people consume those books. They would have evolved and lasted. And many people know the book publishing business is in a lot of trouble because people aren't reading physical paper the same way they are digital. Lastly, it's got to be idealistic. It's got to be big, bold, and interestingly enough, ultimately unachievable. It sounds counterintuitive, but here's what they're saying. If the founders of the United States only set out to win independence, right? We want to be independent. If that was their sole focus and goal, that achievement, then once they got their independence, they would have gone, okay, let's have a beer. We got it. We did it, right? We can chill, mission accomplished. But that's not what they did. Instead, they sought out to write the Constitution. And that was designed to further codify a set of enduring principles to protect and advance their big, bold, idealistic vision of the future. So our just cause, Jeff and I and the Smart Chiropractor, as I was thinking about learning, okay, what's our just cause? How do we apply those requirements in what we're doing? I just put this together. Jeff, we'll play with this over time as we're sort of learning the model, applying the model. But our just cause is to share the story that we have the innate ability to heal ourselves that is far more powerful than what we're told. That's the big vision. That's what people really should be thinking about. Not just that chiropractic is another therapy, another treatment covered by your insurance, but that they have an innate ability to heal themselves far greater than anybody else is sharing with them and telling them. And we invite, right? We're inclusive. We invite all smart chiropractors who also have this sort of infinite mindset, a long-term goal to join us. And we do that by providing our done-for-you automated content marketing service that cost us tens of thousands of dollars each and every month to create the first one. We invite all of you to join us. We want you to use these tools to advance your cause. That is the point. That's what it's here for, so that you can have a smarter community of people who believe what you believe, who believe what we believe. And you can count us continually adapting to whatever new technologies are out there. We're already thinking metaverse, so that ultimately we stay relevant and we stay proactive. We believe in a healthier, more powerful future through healthier, more powerful people. And if you believe what we believe, hopefully you'll be smart and you'll continue to join us on this journey. I thought it was a great book. My takeaway, this first sort of major chapter of the just cause, what inspired me the most. I know there's 4 other components to having an infinite thinking about building your team and being all those other things. But this inspired me, and I thought it was completely relevant to really what we're doing, and also a great way of articulating to other chiropractors. As I said when we opened this, people think marketing and they think advertising. And we get a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm interested in your services. When are you going to run deep discount ads to just send deal shoppers into my practice? Because I need more new patients now and I'm too busy to do anything. That's a different finite mindset than what it is that we're talking about. And hopefully in the last few minutes, you got a good idea that we are infinite thinkers. We have a greater vision than just a few new patients in your practice. Now, one important distinction I want to make, because there's what I say and what is heard. And I remember my mentor, one of my many mentors, Guy Reekman, always saying, he was always talking about vitalism versus mechanism. And he'd always teach about the vitalistic principles versus the mechanistic principles. And he always made it a point to say that vitalistic principles include mechanism, but mechanistic principles do not include vitalism. And I want to just make sure it's very clear for everybody listening that infinite thinking includes finite thinking. You can run your advertisements. You can have your key indicators. You can have specific measurable goals in the short term, but you also have the infinite mindset to understand how those actions affect your long-term consequences. So I just want to make sure it is not one or the other. You don't have to be only a hunter or only a farmer. You can do both. But if you understand the limitations of hunting exclusively and why the world evolved to farming, because of sustainability, because of scale, because of your ability to do a lot more predictably, as opposed to the unpredictable, yes, immediate gratification, but the animals are smart. So once they've figured out your hunting strategy, things change. Just like the market is smart. Once you found a good advertising campaign that works, you'll find in time it doesn't always work so well over time. Things change, people adapt, other people find your secret, apply it themselves. It becomes confusing. That's my summary for the infinite game. We're playing it. We hope you will too. Jeff, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
That is a great kickoff to today's Smart Chiropractor Show. I love where you started when you were discussing consistency and how that is so critical, and then showcasing the differences between your why and your just cause. And I'm going to encourage everybody listening and watching to do a couple of different things. Number one, be sure to subscribe or enable your notifications so you can continue to see every segment of the show. And number two, rewind and listen again. There is so much meat to dive into on what Jason just talked about, and we're going to have some follow-up episodes talking about those other 4 components. So if that wet your whistle, please stay tuned for our upcoming Mindset Mentor segments where we discuss more about one of probably the best books that's been released in a little while, and most importantly, the messages that you can take away for the benefit of your practice and your community. Jason, fantastic job. Looks like you have some comments there. Go for it.
Well, I just want to invite everybody. This is, as I said before, a dialogue. It's a conversation. So if there's something you heard that sort of struck a nerve, struck a chord, touched your heart, this is a process. We're in this together. That is what we're trying to say. So if you've got a vision that is larger than just yourself, and I hope you do, leave it down below. Connect with us, engage with us, share. It's always been said that, thoughts are wonderful, but when you put thoughts into writing, that's even more powerful. And when you put that writing in front of other people, that becomes even more powerful. And that's very much what we're doing here, is building a tribe of like-minded infinite game thinkers. So I want to just invite you, if you've got a thought, you've got a vision, you've got an ideal, drop it down below. Let us all share. And if you see somebody's vision, be kind. There's no need to be critical. That's not it. This is it. I know chiropractors have a tendency to be somewhat self-critical amongst each other. Let's all share and see what we can come up with collectively. I got a feeling this might be something that might turn all of us on. I'm sure there's somebody out there that is thinking something so powerful that share it. Don't be shy. Be bold. We're sharing ours. You share yours. I'll show you mine. If you show me yours, well, that's a different game. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Let's have some fun. Let's see what you got to say about all this.
Yeah, putting those visions out into the universe is a critical step. You got to put that energy out to have that energy come back in. So do not hesitate, as Jason suggested, to drop those visions down below. Let people know what's on your mind, what you see for your future, and how you can impact people's lives, literally, as some chiropractors are doing right now around the world. Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Chiropractor. We are posting videos on how you can market your chiropractic practice in a way that teach and invites consistently. We have found that is the magic formula to big time growth. So if you like this video, be sure to comment down below, smash that subscribe button, or visit us at thesmartchiropractor.com.